Well, hello everyone. My name is Katie Avalon. I'm the VP of Human Resources for RTI and TLI. This is our second episode of Burning Questions. If you guys might remember our first episode with Bill and Brian back in during Driver Appreciation Week. So today I have Colin Crawley, VP of Maintenance for both TLI and RTI, and then Dean McCollum, Fuel Efficiency Manager. And Dean, you do support both RTI and TLI?
Yeah, I currently watch over both of our companies.
Okay.
For fuel efficiency and everything fuel related.
Awesome. So today we are going to be answering questions that you all had around maintenance, CSA scores, and fuel efficiency. So let's get started. Colin, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
Can you explain to our drivers why they should be concerned with CSA violations, specifically maintenance related?
It's a great question. The reason our drivers should be concerned with CSA score, there's several factors that go into that. One of them is the higher your CSA score, the more roadside inspections that we're going to be subject to. So if we can lower our CSA score, it eliminates and reduces a lot of the roadside inspections that our drivers are required to go through, which means more time out on the road hauling freight and getting miles. Another very important one is with customers. CSA scores for not just maintenance, but across the board is something that our customer base looks at and asks about frequently. And the lower our CSA scores are, the easier it is to grow that customer base. And so that's very important for us as a company to continue to grow our customer base. The third thing that makes it important to our drivers is that we pay drivers for clean inspections. So for every clean inspection that a driver gets, we will pay them out for that. Getting those clean inspections is really fairly simple. The biggest thing that CSA is looking for at a roadside inspection, that DOT officer is looking for, brakes, lights, and tires. So think of BLT just like the sandwich. Brakes, easiest thing you can do on those is before you take off as part of your pre-trip, make sure you're in a flat area where there's not a lot of traffic, a lot of pedestrians. You want to build up your air pressure to the cutout pressure, and then with your foot on the brake, release your tractor and trailer brakes, and quickly and firmly make 10 hard brake applications with the foot brake. If you drop below 90 to 100 PSI, go ahead and wait a few minutes or a few seconds, let it build air pressure back up, and then continue on till you get to those 10 applications. What that does is it adjusts the automatic slack adjusters so that it gets your brake stroke within spec, and it will eliminate those CSA violations for that. Tires, just as part of your walk around, check your tread depth and check your tire pressure. Tread depth should be 430 seconds for a steer, 230 seconds or more for any drive or trailing positions. Any of our shops can get those tires swapped out for you as well, so you don't have to wait for them to get to DOT. We've got some pull points that are earlier than that. We will replace them either on a PM or even between PMs if need be to make sure that you stay compliant and legal. And then the tire pressure is 120 PSI for steers, 100 PSI for drives and trailers. And that's really important because, one, it helps with fuel efficiency that Dean will talk about, but also it'll reduce your downtime. The leading cause for blowouts on the road is from running underinflated. It causes excess heat and wear of the tire, and that blowout is going to lead to downtime. The average it takes from the time that you get a hold of breakdown until you're back up rolling again is going to be about 2.5 hours that you're unable to be out rolling while you're sitting there waiting for that tire to get replaced. So very important to check your tire pressure and tread depth. And then the last one is lights. Very simple and easy one to do. Just turn on all your lights in your four ways, and as you're doing your walk around, make sure they're all working correctly. And then that ABS light, make sure that when you turn the key on, that ABS light back on the back of your trailer on the driver's side, it'll come on, stay on for a few seconds, and then go back off. That's indicating that it did a self-check and everything works fine. If the light doesn't come on or the light stays on, then you know there's a malfunction with the system. And at that point, you can reach out to Breakdown and they will get you fixed up and on your way. And then finally, doing those checks again as part of your post-trip will help ensure that that trailer is ready and your tractor is ready to haul the next load, and pays it forward to the next driver when they come and hook up, making their pre-trip easier and then not having to wait on repair and service to come out if they do find any deficiencies.
That's a lot of good information, Colin. Good for me to know too. So another question that came up from one of our drivers is, this person asked, I've had to get my tractor jump started after rest reset. How could I avoid this?
Yeah, that's one that we're seeing as well as an increase in those needs for jump starts. And the important things are to make sure that when you're on rest or if you're on your reset out over the road, that you're either running the APU if you have an APU, or if you don't, utilizing the optimized idle or smart idle system for the Freightliner and Volvo tractors. The optimized idle system has two ways that it works, either with or without comfort mode. The one that most people are familiar with is comfort mode, because they use that to run the air conditioning to keep the bunk cool when they're parked. Optimized idle without comfort mode also needs to be used when you're on that rest or reset, because it'll monitor the battery voltage. And so when you're running things like a refrigerator, a television, charging your iPad, or running a CPAP, all of those add up to an electrical load that's going to drain the batteries down. So when you engage optimized idle, even without comfort mode, it's monitoring that voltage. It'll automatically restart the tractor as needed, charge the batteries back up, so that way when you come off rest or reset, the tractor is able to restart. Another added benefit as we go into winter is, besides monitoring the battery voltage, which the S-bar heater will also draw down battery voltage, but it also monitors the ambient temperature. So if you're parked somewhere where there's extreme colds, it will start the tractor to keep the oil and the coolant at a temperature where it makes restarting the tractor easier. So when you come off of rest, you're able to easily restart that tractor and take off and not have to worry about, is it too cold? Is my fuel gelled? Is the oil too cold that I won't be able to restart the truck? So using that optimized idle will help greatly in that as well.
So you went over a lot of information in the last two talking points, and just because drivers that are watching right now, they might have follow-up questions on some of this stuff. Who's the best contact person for them to reach out to for follow-up questions? Or should they go to their shop or contact a shop manager if they have any kind of follow-up questions with what you're talking about today?
Yeah, so if they're out over the road and they need help, Breakdown is a great first point of contact. They can help walk you through any of that. We've got a one-page document that has QR codes on it they can scan. So that's something that they can reach out to their DM and get a copy of, that has links to videos and instructions on how to use the systems. And then, lastly, if they're in the vicinity of one of our shops, certainly more than welcome to come in. The shop can help walk them through how to use those systems, or if there's an issue, troubleshoot and fix those issues with the systems.
Thanks, Colin. All right, one more question that I have for maintenance. This driver says, I'm being routed to a company shop to get a service completed. Why can't I just do this over the road?
Yeah, and some of the services we do over the road, it's not always feasible to route someone into a shop every time. So from time to time, it is necessary to get those done over the road. The reason we like to bring those into the shop is it's a higher cost to do them over the road, and it's typically a lower quality PM in that they're not checking as much. So the shops, the company shops are doing not only the oil change and the grease that we're getting done over the road, but they're doing things that are significantly more expensive to get done over the road, such as checking your diesel particulate filter to make sure that it's cleaned and ready to go, and they can swap it out and get it replaced in the shop, and do that to make sure you have less downtime. And then also things such as a warranty inspection. So when it comes into our shop, we're looking for things that a Love's or a TA is not going to be looking for, that are covered under our warranty, so that we can proactively address those items as they're failing versus waiting for them to fail over the road. So bringing it into our shop gives us the opportunity to do a deeper dive on that equipment and make sure that it's in tip-top shape.
And I think most of the drivers know the 4 shops that we have, both RTI and TLI: Kansas City, Owensboro, Muskogee, and North Little Rock. So those would be the shops that you would route them to.
Yep, and drivers are welcome to, regardless of whether they're RTI or TLI, go to any of those 4 shops, and they're all set up and capable and more than happy to help.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Colin. All right, let's go to fuel maintenance, the fuel maintenance program or fuel efficiency program. So, Dean, I know a lot of drivers have received emails and Go Driver messages on what the True Fuel program is. But for those who really don't understand or maybe haven't had a chance to really dive into it, can you just kind of give us an overview of what exactly the True Fuel program is?
Yeah, so True Fuel is a program that was purchased by 10th Street. It's in our Express portal. It's a driver efficiency measuring app.
Okay.
It looks at strictly what a driver does, takes all outside factors out, weight, route, stuff like that, and it looks at just purely how efficient the driver is driving. 4 categories. That's acceleration, speeding, speed consistency, which is cruise control, and idle time. It'll look at all those categories. It'll give us an estimated gallon amount for a week, and then it'll give us a total score based on those gallons.
Okay.
Scoring range is going to be 0 to 100. 100 means you're the best. 0 means we're losing every gallon we put in the truck. The goal for Riverside and TLI is a 97 overall score. Right now we're seeing an average of 93, 94, which is not bad. There are some small things to work on here and there, but the system or the program will show you what you need to work on, how to improve your scores. There's training, videos in there for every category we have, and there's a simple graph. It'll show you where you're losing your gallons, how many, and what you really need to focus on. So it's been a very large, take on to both these companies to implement, but we're really seeing some benefits to applying this to drivers. They know, hey, am I being efficient or not? And it's been a really, really, really great tool so far.
Okay. So tell us, I could understand the fuel efficiency for lease purchase drivers, owner ops. They're paying for that out of pocket. How does it benefit company drivers?
So as a company driver, it'll actually show you on what you're doing overall wise as a driver, right? If you come to a company, let's say at Riverside Transport, you want to be the best. You want to show everybody, hey, I am the best driver we have here. This can really highlight that. This takes everything out. This just shows us how you are performing as a driver. Are you losing the company money, or are we saving money, and how can I improve to really make myself stand out on being efficient? It can also help you with your efficiency on your truck. So if you look at the speeding category, for example, anything over 70 miles an hour is going to be counted as a fuel loss. Right? Above 70 miles an hour is also impacting your mile per gallon in your truck. Efficiently, to bring that mile per gallon up, being below 70 will greatly impact your overall mile per gallon, which will help the truck. It'll help its long life, especially on the idle category. As Colin talked about, we have the 2 different categories, APU versus OptiIdle. You can monitor that, see how many gallons you're losing. By lowering that number, it's only lengthening the life of your truck by putting less wear and tear on the motor. So it really helps drivers really, I know there's some out there who really, really like their trucks and they don't ever want to leave. This could be benefactory to them to really bring that number down, increase the life of their truck so they can stay in a longer period of time.
So when you're reaching out to drivers because maybe you're seeing an issue or high usage, walk us through, what you're looking at. What numbers are you looking at? How often do you pull those reports? Are you looking at those reports, and what's that conversation like?
Yeah, so I look at the reports every day. We get new reports every Monday, beginning of the week, based on previous week information. So, for example, let's say today is Monday. I'm going to be looking at information from last Sunday to Sunday. So I can only see previous week. What I am looking for is the drivers who stand out, right? Numbers who are high. We want all those numbers to be as close to 0 as possible. So let's say, for example, Bob Smith, fictitious driver. Let's say I look at it and I see a idle gallon loss that's way above everybody else. I'm going to reach out to that driver, have a simple conversation. Hey, here are your numbers for last week. Make sure it's matching to what they're seeing, because everybody has access to that portal on their end. And say, okay, well, what are we doing to cause this number? From there, it's, is it an issue with the truck that I can then now send to the shop to get that repaired to save us some money and save that driver time? Or is it a driver issue that we need to work on? Hey, I have an OptiIdle system. Sometimes it's new drivers who are not familiar with the system yet. So we can send them over to the training videos that Colin has to show them, hey, this is what we need to do to lower that number. Or if it's something that comes down the line, hey, I just don't like using it. We can give them coaching lessons on how and why we'd like to use it. It really helps us in the long end to be able to tell drivers, hey, this is where we're at, this is where we'd like to be, and this is how we are going to help you get to that point.
So when you think about the most successful driver that we've had in this program so far,
Mhm.
three things that come to top of mind, what has made that individual successful?
So there's one that sticks out like a sore thumb. I'm not going to name drop him, but you know who you are. He has really bought into the program. He's a company driver. You'd expect a lease purchase owner operator to really want to invest themselves, but this company driver has gone above and beyond. For him, he has all of his scores are as close to zero as you can get.
Wow.
Yeah, he's doing amazing. So for him, he started out in the middle of the pack. He was about a 92 average when we first started this about 2.5 months ago. He's now about a 98.
Wow.
Yes, he's above the rest of the field by almost a whole point. For him, his biggest focus was, okay, well, how do we measure it, and how can I get better at that category? So, for example, acceleration, they measure acceleration at how efficiently a driver is getting up to speed underneath 50 miles an hour. So, out of a stoplight, stop sign, typically, and I'm bad at it too, you want to go. You want to get going and you want to move, right? But the most beneficial way for these tractors is actually going to be at a low RPM. You're going to receive more torque off the motor that way, and gradually increase your speed. That has helped him drop his number down to almost zero. He had an off-the-idle system in his truck. He really wasn't using it correctly. We were able to give him some coaching and show him how this program is supposed to work. He has now narrowed that number down. He is in the bottom percentile for idle because he started to use the off-the-idle system correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And then acceleration was another big one. Speeding, excuse me. He would get above 70. He runs in a really hilly area.
Mm-hmm.
So he'd constantly catch himself going 73 down a hill, right? We were able to bring it to his attention. He now stays 70 or below. Technically, he stays at 69. He said he'll only touch 70 on hills. But he's able to now know, hey, I need to watch myself going down these hills and kind of slow this truck down a little bit. And he's shot up above the rest. He's really grabbing it by the horns, and he is doing amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's killing it.
And now there's incentive.
Yes,
There's
yeah.
an incentive for this too for drivers. So not only is it just better for the company and the truck life and everything else, but financially
It's
there's an
beneficial to
incentive.
them.
So can you go over what that incentive program looks like?
Yeah, so there's actually two tied to it. There's a main bonus, and then what we have like a side pop bonus.
Mm-hmm.
So every time you achieve a score of 97 for the month, right, you have to average out 97 every week, and you can get a 97 for the month. That will be another cent per mile we will pay you on all miles driven the following month.
Oh, wow.
So let's say a driver achieves it in November. All miles driven in December, we will pay them an additional cent per mile on top of what they're making for that whole month. And this is going to go through the rest of the year. So they have a chance to get it in November and now December as well. So that's 2 more full months and an additional penny per mile on top of what they're making.
Wow.
We also have the side pod bonus, which is the big one. It's our sweepstakes bonus. Every time you achieve a 97, so for the rest of the year, there's 2 entries left for November and December. That's entry into a pool. And at the end of the year, we're going to pull one random person out of that pool, filmed, of course. Had a lot of people bring that up. And we're going to pay them $5,000 straight up.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, so 97 for the full month.
Yes.
They have to maintain.
Yes.
So to get that $5,000 bonus that we're going to draw for at the end of the year.
Yep. So you'll get the cent per mile, and you'll also get 1 entry into the pool.
Oh, that's great. That's an awesome program. All right. If drivers have questions specific to how they're running, and I know that you support both TLI and RTI, is their best course of action to reach out to their fleet manager, or would it be specific to you? Who
So,
do they contact?
The best way to go about it is all the fleet managers have been trained. They know the program well. Reach out to your driver manager if you don't know. Okay. There's also, all the information is also in front of you, right? So you know how you're doing. There's training videos they have access to. If you have more questions past that, call your driver manager. And if your driver manager doesn't know, I will put everything on the side and talk to that driver as long as they need to answer any questions they have.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate the both of you being here today to answer some of these burning questions that we had. And like Colin said, if you guys have questions regarding what he went over with maintenance, you guys can reach out to the breakdown team, the shops if you're in town. But we also have that one pager that you could reach out to your fleet manager on and get as well. So thank you both for being here, and we'll see you next month for next month's Burning Question segment.
Thank you, Katie.
Thank you.